2025 Calhoun County High School Football Media Day, the White Plains Wildcats. They compete in Region 6, 4A Region 6. Their head coach of the Wildcats is Clint Smith, new to the program, and junior lineman Hudson Inglesby, and junior wide receiver and defensive back Bryson Cheatwood. Coach Smith, we'll start with your opening comments.
Well, we appreciate you guys having us again this year. It's a great event. Being able to showcase our schools, that are in the county. Appreciate the Calhoun County Quarterback Club for putting this on. And, anytime this rolls around, that football's right around the corner, and we're excited to get to that point. And so the two young men that I brought with me today is Bryson Cheatwood, a junior. He's a wide receiver, defensive back, kicker for us, and Hudson Inglesby, who is a junior offensive line, defensive line. And once again, we're excited to be here, excited for the season to get started.
Any questions?
All right, we'll start with the first question back here, Coach Smith. Let's just address it right up front. After a very successful run, first at Sachs, then at Jacksonville, you're coaching now at White Plains High School. Tell us about how that transition has gone for you and your family, and what excites you the most about this move.
Well, it's exciting. Our family is no stranger to White Plains. My wife taught out there for 17 years. We actually lived in the community for 10 years. And so we've always been connected to White Plains over the years. And, I started out at Sachs, was there for 7 years, went to Jacksonville, was there for 13. And, every coach, when they leave a program, they want to make sure they leave that program better than when they took it over. And I had 13 great years at Jacksonville, built relationships with a lot of great people, a lot of great kids. But as a coach, and personally, it was one of those situations where, I was ready, my family was ready to go and have another challenge and to go to another place. And White Plains has always been special to us. And, it just so happened the White Plains job, came open, and we knew right then that that's where we wanted to be. It's an outstanding community with great people, great administration, great teachers, and really good kids that do everything we ask them to do, hard workers. And so we're excited to be in White Plains and excited about the future of our program. And so that's just kind of how all that came about.
Thank you. We've got a question now from Joe Medley of East Alabama Sports.
Now that you've been there a couple of months, do you see any similarities from some of your previous first years at other places?
Yeah, there's when you go into a program, one of the things that you want to do is you got to find out, who's on board and who's willing to do what it takes to be successful. And we were able to go out, and the first thing we try to do is you want to try to get your numbers up, in which we have been able to do in our junior high program and in our varsity program. And then you take those numbers and you start getting into the summer workouts, and you start getting into the first few days of practice. And then you got to find those guys that's willing to do what it takes to be successful. And you have to find out, who's on the fence and who's not. And, they got to be either all in or all out. And so once you identify that and you get your numbers up, then you get those guys that are willing to do what it takes to be successful. We've got a lot of guys that are capable of having a great year, capable of great things, but are we going to be willing to do that? There's a difference in being capable of and willing to. And so, that's what we're doing now, is finding those guys that are willing to do what it takes to help get our program where we want it to be.
I have a question for the players, Hudson and Bryson. You've had a chance now to be, practicing and working out with the coach. How hard has it been, or is it easier to buy into what he's doing as a new system, as a new coach? You guys been with the program. Hudson, how do you feel about what it's taken to go to that level you want to go to?
Yeah, I think just being able to buy into the program, it's really easy to, because of his success earlier on down the road in his earlier years as a coach.
Right, and Bryson, knowing that he's had success, I know you have to be excited, but is he easy to deal with? Is he bringing it every day? I'm sure he is.
He knows what he's talking about, so, he's done it with 2 other schools, so I think he's going to do it with our school too.
guys are obviously leaders, but what about the pressure to lead? And is he teaching that through his coaching style?
Yes, sir. He just the way he comes out at practice and how he leads us in the weight room. He's leading it by a good example and just teaching us how to lead through coaching. Yes, sir.
Question right here.
Congratulations on your new coaching staff and everything. But you know, White Plains has been in the playoffs probably a couple of times in the last 50 years, and White Plains has had some really, really good kids, really good athletes. And I know that firsthand. This community does. Coach Smith, this question for you: what is exactly something that you're looking for that'll be the turning point that you haven't mentioned, that'll simply get you on the doorstep of the playoff, but most importantly, get you in? I know that's the biggest challenge, is getting you in. Then you'll do something thereafter.
Well, I think that everything starts with relationships. I think a lot of times people try to build programs through X's and O's and schemes and things like that, but the building a program starts with relationships. It starts with, you know, every aspect of the program, from youth league all the way to junior high football into varsity. And I think the key for us is not only getting our numbers up, which we've been able to do, but keeping those kids in the program. You know, coming in the 7th grade through the 12th grade, keeping them in the program for 6 years, so that they have a chance to have that coaching, you know, from an early age on. And so just not only getting them out, but keeping them out is going to be a huge key for us. And also, you know, just making sure we recruit our hallways and making sure that there's somebody out there that can help us win. You know, we get those guys out there. And so, you know, these guys have done everything we've asked them to do up until this point. They've showed up all summer long. First few days of practice, they work extremely hard. And so, you know, they've passed the test, the first test, which is the commitment level that it's going to take to get us in the playoffs. And then, you know, we have to be able to be in the game in the fourth quarter with a chance to win. So we've got to learn to compete, you know, for 4 quarters. And then, you know, once we get to that point where we have those chances to win those games in the fourth quarter, then we got to take that next step of winning some of those games in the fourth quarter. And once you're able to do that, then everything else just takes off. And so we're going to have to learn to, regardless of who we're playing, if we're playing a team that's, you know, ranked in the top 10 or playing somebody that hadn't won a game, we've got to compete. And that's something, you know, early on, you know, we, as a coaching staff, we haven't seen these guys in game type situations yet. You know, we've only been there for a few months. So a lot of the coaching and a lot of the being able to identify some things that need to change is going to come on the fly once we get in the season. And so, but all I know is that our community is excited, and our kids have done everything we've asked them to do. And so with that, we can definitely move forward.
Coach Smith, about how many kids do you have out, and what did you have to do, or what did you do to help encourage kids to come out and play?
Talk to them. You get to know them. Ask them questions other than football. You know, hang out with them a little bit. You know, when I got hired, you know, I spent a lot of time at the middle school, just being in PE classes and hanging out with them, getting to know them, building relationships with some parents of those kids. Same way with the varsity guys. You know, I think there's no telling how many meetings we had, you know, before anything ever started, just with every boy in the school. You know, and got to talk with them personally, and got to talk to them about our vision for the program, and just tell them that, you know, regardless of what's happened in the past, regardless if you've played before or not, you know, when a new coach and a new coaching staff comes in, everybody's on the same page. Whether you're a senior or a 9th grader, it's new for everybody. And so we were able to get those guys out. As far as the numbers, you know, we're probably sitting at 100 or maybe a little over 100 with the junior high and the varsity. And so, you know, we're excited about that. And, you know, you always lose a few, you know, through the summer. And once you actually get into it, you find out who really wants to play and who doesn't. But, you know, we haven't, you know, lost a ton of kids in that. So, you know, they're committed. And, you know, our coaching staff, I've got a great coaching staff that's with me. And those guys have done a really good job of building those relationships. And so you just got to have conversations, and you got to let people know that you're human and you're real, and you connect with people that way.
Question right here. I want you to elaborate on your coaching staff, but before that, I want to ask Bryson and Hudson, when did you find out that you were coming to media day today, and what does this mean to you? How did you find out about it? Bryson, we'll start with you.
I mean, Coach Smith texted me saying that me and Hudson were, we got picked to be the two captains. I was really excited, and just really excited.
Yeah, he just sent me a text and said you were going to come to media day, and it's just a great honor for me to be here today to represent White Plains football and White Plains High School.
And I did something a little different this time. Usually I chose, who came with me. But, I kind of changed it up a little bit. I let our team vote for captains the other night. And these two guys were the two highest, vote getters for the captains. We have 4 captains, Hudson and Bryson Cheatwood. And then we have, Hayden Barksdale and Logan Lobby, which are our other 2. But these 2 were the top vote getters, and I wouldn't trade these 2 for anything up here. But it was interesting to see that what the kids thought and what we thought as coaches and everything lined up.
And that helps take the pressure off the coach having to pick 2 of the 4 captains to come to media day. But elaborate a little bit more about your assistant coaches. Talk about those that you were able to bring with you from the prior coaching job, and then the new ones there that's well respected at White Plains.
Yeah, I've got a great coaching staff. I've got guys that have been with me for a long time. The first thing about them is they're great men. They're great role models for our kids. They do things the right way. They lead the right way, and they treat the kids the right way. And Coach Jameson Edwards, who is my offensive coordinator, we've been together. This is our 20th season. And Coach Marcus Albright, who is my defensive coordinator, this is our 19th season together. Both these guys were with me at Sachs. They were with me at Jacksonville, and now they're with me at White Plains. Also brought Darren Mitchell with me from Jacksonville, Josh Blythe from Jacksonville, and we hired Mike Benefield as our offensive line coach. Coach Benefield's been around, several schools here in the area. He's also, was the offensive line coach at Jack State and UAB with Bill Clark, and so excited to have him on staff. We also have Dylan Randall and John Brian O'Connor that's on our staff as well. And so, excited about those guys. Great men. We enjoy being around each other, and we work extremely well together, and just excited about them being part of White Plains.
Guys, raise your hand if you've got a question, but while you're thinking of that, let me go back to the players here. Talk about your favorite part of football season. Is it the Friday night running out through the banner? Is it after the ball game, after a big win? What's your favorite part? Hudson, we'll start with you.
I think my favorite part is definitely run out before the banner. It's just you're standing behind that banner, then you hear the fight song playing, and you're running out under those lights, and the adrenaline starts pumping, and that's my favorite part.
Like he said, nothing beats Friday nights. It's just a different feeling. And some people just don't know the feeling of Friday nights, and it's just a different feeling.
Coach, would you like to name any, I'll say sleeper, but somebody you're looking at on that team that you think, hey, this guy could come on for us? Is there a name or 2 you want to drop out here while you're in this? Or I know you probably hadn't done a lot of practice, but
Yeah, they've all done exactly what we needed them to do. We've got some seniors that have done really well. We've got some 9th graders that have done really well. There are going to be a lot of 9th graders that see the field for us this year, but they're working hard and doing well. So as a team, they're doing everything we've asked them to do, and so we've only had a few practices, but we're moving in the right direction.
we've got time for one or 2 more questions.
Clint, first, congratulations on the move.
Thank you.
And you're one of the more seasoned coaches in the county. We've done several media days over the past week and a half, and one of the things that's gotten talked about quite a bit is being able to see the kids in pads and kind of what that's going to look like.
It's certainly a different scenario here versus what they have over in Georgia. Do you think it's time for Alabama to kind of maybe take a look at getting these kids in pads maybe a week or two quicker?
Well, honestly, I think we do a lot of things too quick. Every time you turn around, things are getting started early. And, I kind of like how it is now. I like how the setup is of having, a few years ago we went to the week 0, and which allowed you to still play 10 games with an off week. I like that part of it. There's several things that I don't know if it's good or bad, but I do know that, we used to start season a lot later than we do now. Now we've backed it up earlier, the way the summer conditioning is now. It's a lot on the kids, especially the ones that are, 2 and 3 sport players, that are trying to keep up. In the month of June, you're mostly baseball, basketball during those times with the play dates, and then you roll into football. And so it's a lot on the kids, a lot of stress on the kids. So, I don't think I'm in any favor of doing anything earlier or adding to it. I think it's good like it is, and hopefully we'll keep it that way.
Coach, right here, one final question, and then you can wrap it up as you want to. But the word culture is used a lot in football, whether it's college or even high school level. You want to create that culture. When you think of the word culture, and everywhere that you've been, even back to Clay County, what does that word mean to you?
Well, I think when you're looking at a program, you want, first of all, we've talked about relationships. You want to build relationships. You want to earn respect within your county, within your region, within the state, and then you want to build your reputation. And so, the biggest thing that we want to make sure that we're doing is we want to be consistent. We want stability, and we want to be able to year in and year out be competitive, and I think that goes back to expectations. What I expect of these guys, and not just what I expect of these guys, but what they expect of themselves. There's better things out there. There's bigger things out there. And as long as we'll believe in that and we'll stick together as a team, then we can accomplish those goals. But you got to have those expectations, and that's what you've got to expect each and every year, and you got to hold these guys accountable for that, and they've got to hold themselves accountable for it. And as far as culture, you want to get to the point where you're consistent, and you do that by just continuing to build those relationships, and then you'll get there.
Any final thoughts on today? Words? And then we'll let you guys go.
Just appreciate it. I'll work with you guys throughout the season. If you need anything, just let me know. I appreciate the event. Appreciate the opportunity for our school to be here and showcase our school. And for the first time, this is the first time I've ever been first, so I've enjoyed that too. So I appreciate that. But love these guys, love this community, and we're excited to get going.
Thank you, Coach. We'll be back in about 5 minutes.